As you guys can see up on the screen today, I want to talk a little bit about Inspira Technologies. This is ticker symbol IINN, and this has been a company that's been on my radar for the past couple of weeks, and I've been meaning and wanting to make a video about it, but just never got around to it for whatever reason. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy stocks and different stuff going on in the market right now, and it just, you can only cover so many stuff. There's only so many hours in the day. But look at this graph. I mean, over the past 6 months, this thing has been absolutely crazy. Hitting a 52-week low of $2.25 around October, before shooting up 300% over the course of a couple days or even a single day, all the way to the 52-week high of $9.59. It's not too often that you see the 52-week high and the 52-week low just a day apart from each other. So, IINN has been this crazy volatile stock that has been on a lot more people's radars now, before more so now than before, obviously, this big explosion. It's been a stock and a company that has definitely been beaten down. You look over the past year, if this thing will load, sometimes it takes a second. But if you zoom out a little bit, this is obviously a beaten down stock. This is a short squeeze play, a hype stock, and to be a short squeeze play, you got to be something that's been beaten down over time. So there's obviously a lot of stuff on the negative side for this company to even be in the position to be a short squeeze play in the first place. But a lot of these companies, hopefully are finding bottoms and hopefully have good news coming out and are hopefully making strides to turn around their business for the long term, on top of having that short term potential of, a short squeeze or, making shorts cover or just trying to burn, short sellers and stuff like that anyway. So that's obviously what a lot of people are going for. And recently things have been going pretty well. Over the last month, up around 25%. Over the past week, we're up almost 11%. And today, not too crazy of a day. I mean, yes, a lot of volatility, a lot of ups and downs, but down around 1.32%. This is a day when the S&P was actually green, so not necessarily a great sign to be down when the S&P is green, but, the different indices were kind of all over the place, with the Russell being up, the NASDAQ being down, Dow's up a little bit, S&P's barely up, but then after hours, things actually up 4%, so, maybe things are starting to turn around a little bit for IINN. What I did want to talk about today was a little DD that came from the penny stock subreddit about IINN, ventilator replacement with possible squeeze play, because a lot of people are excited about this right now. There are a lot of posts on the short squeeze subreddit, on the penny stock subreddit. People are starting to, hear about IINN more and more, starting to consider investing in it, consider getting involved, consider throwing some money in. So I just think, you want to know more about the company and what's going on, some of that information. So I thought this was really cool. DD put out by It's Alonzo on Reddit. So he does say a quick overview of the company. Inspira Technologies is an innovative medical device company specializing in respiratory care solutions. The company's flagship ART device utilizes a hemoprotective flow approach designed to rebalance oxygen saturation levels while patients are awake and breathing spontaneously, potentially minimizing the need for mechanical ventilation. Obviously, we're going through a time period in the last 2 years, through COVID, where all of a sudden we're hearing more and more about ventilators. We're hearing, how awful it can be for patients and people having to go through situations where they need to be vented, how tough it can be, to get through the times where you require ventilation, but then even afterwards, the long-term effects that ventilation can have, and the fact that some people never rebound fully from it, it's very, very scary, obviously, and a lot of this has been brought to the light of even more people, obviously through the pandemic, and as, ventilators have become more and more common, so hopefully coming up with a solution or replacement for that, especially one that could be safer, one that could provide better health outcomes, maybe could be more cost effective, cost efficient, whatever, could be a really big potential play. So I think this is kind of interesting. As far as our main product, this is the ART-TM, designed to directly oxygenate the blood at an early stage while the patient is awake and breathing spontaneously. The ART device acts as an artificial lung to rebalance patients' oxygen saturation levels in just 1 minute. By inserting oxygen into the blood and removing CO2 from the blood, the ART device has the potential to minimize the need for mechanical ventilation. Now, obviously, again, that is a very, very big claim, saying it has a potential to minimize the need for mechanical ventilation. Who knows exactly what that means? Obviously, we'll have to see a lot of, studies and data and analysis of what that means. What does this mean to minimize the need for a ventilation? Does that mean you might still have to get ventilated? Does that mean you have to get ventilated, but you won't need to be ventilated for as long, or it won't be as severe, or you won't see as many of the long-term effects? effects. How many people is this going to potentially save from ventilation? How, is this going to improve quality of life? Is this going to add, years onto people's lives or whatever? That will all be very, very interesting, and, really tell the story about how, successful this can be as a treatment, as a product, but also how much money they can make off it, which is obviously very, very important when you're talking about stocks and, companies and investing. So the ART-TM device advantage is it's designed to be affordable, easy to use, and require less specialized personnel to reduce operational costs. That's something that hospitals and facilities are going to love to hear, because obviously at the end of the day, this is going to be a sales pitch. If you want them to buy a bunch of products that they don't have when they're used to using ventilators for the past however many years, you're going to need to, show that value add to these, facilities. So potentially he's going to add long-term effects, potentially avoids long-term effects of induced coma. And I, totally agree with that. I totally understand how that could be beneficial. Designed to reduce complications associated with mechanical ventilation, potentially eliminates risk of lengthy weaning process for mechanical ventilation, intended to expand acute respiratory treatment beyond the ICU, and aims to reduce length of hospital stays and costs, which is great for the hospital and great for, obviously the patients not having to spend as much money, or insurance companies or insurance premiums or whatever. Some of the recent news and catalysts. October 26th, Inspira Technologies signs a strategic agreement with WAAS Group. Then they also filed a PCT patent application for its novel dual lumen cannula used for blood oxygenation. Dr. Stefan Ledat, an expert in critical care and anesthesia, has joined Inspira Technologies Scientific Advisory Board. That, hopefully is going to be a good sign. They also filed a PCT patent application for its flagship ART device and proprietary method of use, which is good. Having those patents behind their technology, obviously great. They signed a strategic agreement with Innovamed, and then they also more than doubled their distribution pack for ART systems in Eastern Europe. Again, this is an Israeli company, so starting to grow in Eastern Europe, seeing what they can do from there. Very, very good. And then obviously, let alone what the company's doing, what the fundamentals are, what the long-term outlooks of what they're doing with their products and patents and all that stuff is the opportunity of a short squeeze play, which a lot of people are here for as well. Currently number 6 on the Fintel short squeeze list. It's a small market cap, 38.6 million. Right now sitting at 29.23, so very, very small. Obviously easy to be manipulated both up and down. A tiny float of 5.16 million, and a percent of float shorted of 14.8% reported on December 14th, and rising quickly from just 1% reported on November 30th. That is a massive jump in just 15 days. Very, very crazy. And an average volume of only 2.6 million, which again is going to make it pretty easy to manipulate both up and down. And yeah, so this is just kind of what's going on with Iinn right now. Obviously a very, very big and interesting company in the meme stock or short squeeze or hype stock plays right now. It's one that a lot more people have been talking about. I keep seeing pop up on my radar, and I want to just dive a little bit deeper into it, see exactly what they have going on, what the outlook is for both them in the short term as a short squeeze play, or in the long term as actually like a rebound by the dip / play. And I think this one looks kind of interesting. It's not necessarily one that I'm super excited about right now, or that I'm necessarily going to be buying into right away, or maybe even at all. But I just like knowing about these companies, keeping on my radar, and following the ups and downs, because I think it's really interesting and really entertaining, and I hope you guys do as well. So definitely drop a like if you guys did enjoy this video. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about Iinn. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope to catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.